Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Vidhi Bhutra and this is Global Pulse, our daily space to take a look at global media's take on India's most pressing issues of the day. We look at a wide range of media reports from original ground reports from field correspondents to opinion pieces by renowned columnists. The India-UK Free Trade Agreement comes into effect today and expectations are high about what it could mean for India's economy. Reporting for the BBC, Nikhil Inamdar says the deal will remove or reduce tariffs on 99% of Indian exports to the UK and 90% of UK exports to India. According to Inamdar's report, in the long run, the agreement could increase the UK's GDP by 0.13% and India's by 0.06%. The deal also puts India on the same footing as Pakistan and Bangladesh. Their exports already entered the UK duty free under the developing countries trading scheme, while Indian goods previously faced tariffs of up to 12%. But the optimism comes with a note of caution. As Namdar reports, analysts say tariffs are only part of the story. Other barriers could still limit how much India benefits. One example is steel. The UK continues to impose tariffs on steel imports above a certain quota to protect domestic manufacturers. Ajay Srivastava of the Global Trade Research Initiative told the BBC. Srivastava also told the BBC that the UK's proposed Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, could reduce the gains from the trade deal. Even if tariffs fall to zero, he said, carbon-related border charges could increase the effective cost of Indian exports in sectors covered by the CBAM, creating new trade frictions. There's another challenge too. As Inamdar writes, historically, India's utilization of FTAs has been low because small businesses are often unaware of the new rules. As a result, only about 20 to 30% of India's eligible exports are estimated to use FTA preferences, even though import side utilization rates are much higher. An Indian sailor was killed on Tuesday after an Iranian strike hit two Emirati vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, prompting India to call for de-escalation in the region. Reporting for the New York Times, Ravi Mattu and Mujib Mashal say that the incident has once again exposed the risks faced by Indian seafarers. As the report notes, the deadly attack has once again highlighted the vulnerability of Indian sailors, who account for about 12% of the global commercial shipping workforce, according to the Indian government. The reporters add that Indian sailors have borne a disproportionate share of the violence at sea during the West Asia conflict. Since Iran effectively choked the Strait of Hormuz in February, many civilian mariners have remained stranded aboard ships waiting for safe passage. Mattu and Mashal also point to earlier incidents. An Indian crew member on a Cyprus-flagged ship went missing after an Iranian strike over the weekend. And last month only, the Indian government said a US strike on a commercial tanker in the Gulf of Oman killed 3 Indian sailors, before lodging an official protest with the United States. Finally, over to the Financial Times, where Martin Wolf asks a bigger question. Is America really doing better than Europe? Wolf begins by acknowledging the conventional wisdom. The general view, not just in the US, is that the contemporary European economy is a dying duck, he says. But he argues the picture is far more complicated. As Wolf writes, there is no doubt that the US has long been in another league when it comes to advanced digital technologies, and today in particular to artificial intelligence, adding that America's status as a single country gives it an insuperable advantage over Europe. Yet, Wolf argues that measuring economic success isn't just about growth. It is also about whether the US delivers on the promise of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, something its founding fathers had set out to achieve. On several quality of life measures, Europe comes out ahead. Wolf notes that despite spending a much larger share of its GDP on healthcare, the US has lower life expectancy than Europe. In 2024, life expectancy was 76.5 years for American men and 81.4 for women, compared with European averages of 80.5 and 84.8 years respectively. He also points out to public safety and incarceration rates. In 2023, the US homicide rate stood at 5.9 per 100,000 people, compared with 1.3 in France and 0.9 in Germany. The US prison population was 542 per 100,000 people, far higher than 130 in France and 69 in Germany. Wolf's final comparison is economic output. While the US has outperformed the Eurozone in overall GDP growth since 2000, he writes that the gap largely disappears when measured per person. In fact, Eurozone GDP per capita has improved relative to the US. His conclusion? That Europe does not suffer any disadvantage in relative welfare vis a vis the US, but, a crucial but, he says, it is indeed far weaker.